So, for those watching the video version of the podcast, Closer to Indigo by Maria Koropecki, I'm holding the book up here. It's a beautiful purple to violet. The main character, Maria, who is you, but not you,
Right.
started out as you, and took on a life of her own, which I think is awesome. So, did you like who you met?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, coaching.
Yeah.
You specifically had another adjective in terms of your coaching. Has that changed? Have you dropped the spiritual storytelling? Or is that still part of what you consider yourself to be a spiritual storytelling coach? Or does someone's story just automatically have spirit in it?
Oh, no, not necessarily. So I call myself a storytelling coach just for simplicity, but I call my people, my tribe, my ideal clients, spiritual storytellers. So that's where that comes in. To me, a spiritual storyteller is someone who naturally weaves in spiritual wisdom, anecdotes, stories, metaphors into their just normal conversation. There are people who just throw in a story or whatever, and it has that sort of a spiritual side to it. Not everyone is a spiritual storyteller, but you'd be surprised at who is. Like even like athletes can be considered spiritual storytellers if you want, or poets or songwriters. There's just a certain depth, I guess you could say. And not everyone is interested in spirituality or religion either. So, and that's okay. But for me, that's my life path. I'm very spiritually minded, and I feel like we're in a place in our culture that, like people are curious about spirituality, maybe not so much religion, but definitely looking into the magical side of life and looking for meaning also, like making sense of all this. Like, how do we make sense of the pandemic? How do we make sense of war? How do we make sense of poverty? How do we create what we want or manifest what we want? How do we find true love? How do we, like, all that to me is all very spiritual. And so I want to encourage people to go into that space, not worry so much about the problems.
I can think of at least 3 people in my sphere of influence who should be banging on your door. So I want to say, I want to work with you. In your mind, who are the people that should be working with you? Should be calling you saying, when can I get started with your coaching program? Who are those people? I guess another way of saying it is, what is your niche? Who do you want to work with?
Okay, well, like the spiritual storytellers, as we talked about, spiritual storytellers are pilgrims, artists, introverts, late bloomers, nature lovers, travelers, people who have wisdom from life and who are tired of being disregarded or passed over or underestimated, and people who are ready to shine their light and to share their story and to say, this is who I am, and like feel good about, like, this is who I am. Okay. Love me or don't love me, but I'm going to be who I am, and I'm going to stay true to me, and I have lots of wisdom to share. If you want to connect, let's connect. And so here's my story. This is where I'm coming from, and put it out in the world so that people know your name. Like this life that we have, of all the things that had to come together for us to be here in this body with this name and this timeline, like that's that's huge. For us to have this life force coursing through us is amazing. Like a miracle. Like, it's amazing. And so while we're here, let's leave a footprint. And thinking about books this is really amazing. when you tell your story and you write your book, I was reading a book and I was like, I have never met this author, but I have connected with this author across time and space without physically touching them. Like somehow they took thoughts from their brain, put it in a book form. I then read the book and learned the information. How amazing that we actually have that ability to communicate without actually talking, or, like just through reading and writing. So if you can capture your wisdom in a book and you want to share that across time and space and generations, then I'm here to help. Like if you want to really capture your life experience as it is now, especially for me, like I don't have any children, so these books, my creativity, are my children. I want to say I was here, and this is what I'm about, and I want to help people do the same.
It's a very beautiful answer. I was struggling to find the right adjective, but beautiful is the right one.